take out SK Telecom T1 is no small feat. And their sister team as well, MVP Ozone, and they had a win over the KT Bullets earlier in this tournament. So I think they've proven that they can really hang with the best.
Well, we'll find out today for sure. Samsung Blue versus CJ Blaze picks and bans for game number 1, and already 4 mid bans going down. They're really worried about Pawn and Ambition.
Yeah, they have to ban the Nidalee as the last here. So the question is,
yeah, there it is.
Are they going to try and take away the Shen pick here? And no, they want to grab Corki. Emperor has been dominating on that champion so far at WCG, but that'll hand over Daydream's champion of choice, Aatrox.
Oh, and we may actually see the Annie taken a little bit early. They will, yeah, locking in Annie and Aatrox. We've seen Lustboy be able to kind of be his aggressive self that he always wanted to be in lane, and so no big shock that he's grabbing the Annie.
Yeah, I'd like to see the Shen pick up here, yes, from Samsung Blue, because you know if they're going to pick an Annie that they're going for a 5v5 team fight composition. And so Shen gives you that split pushing ability and the ability to react to the 5v5 all-ins that Blaze wants to do. Exactly. So I think it's the perfect pick against Annie since it's up, since it's available.
Now this will mean that Chunju won't get to play his Rumble, but again, like you said, they may not want to just go 5v5 versus 5v5 here. I wouldn't want to go 5v5 against Blaze.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a much better choice, at least for the moment, and Ambition locking in the early Gragas pickup as well.
Wow, okay.
Safe champion, got that disruption, and the Ezreal pick, pretty good here.
Ezreal Annie is a great lane.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of long-range poke potential, considering that Annie has one of the longer auto attacks in the game at 625.
Yep. Not to mention just some of those early stuns. I mean, you can all in pretty hard. Now we have seen Leona.
It's going to be, looks like a mid-Riven here.
Yeah.
Following in the footsteps of Faker. Now, Faker used the mid-Riven as a counter pick to Zed, so this is quite surprising to see it come out against Gragas, but since Gragas is a melee champion and Riven does have some good mobility in the laning phase, she may be able to dodge barrels. I am really excited to see how this works out.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. The mid-Riven at Worlds was a good counter pick, but it was kind of like, oh, that's something we're not going to see very often. But here it is again today. And the Zyra locked in as well for Sense. Zyra, of course, considered one of the strongest support champions in the game right now. And there's that Jax pickup at the end for Flame. Flame is a devastatingly good Jax player.
Always has been, and it will answer some of that Shen split pushing just a little bit. I'm concerned a little bit about the anti-synergy between Gragas and Annie here. CJ Blaze is going to have to be very careful about the order in which they use those, but as an experienced team fighting team, they should be able to pull it out just fine. But essentially a lot of high burst coming out of CJ Blaze, and they need to take out one or two people early on in these team fights with the Gragas-Annie combo.
Yeah, and you can kind of play Gragas-Annie as sort of a pick combo too if you if you explosive cast someone into range of Annie's stuns. I mean, that is one of the difficulties of Annie is getting close enough to use your ability, so Gragas can help out with that in certain situations too, so we'll see. Better for picks, not so good in big team fights. And there's our lineup.
Yeah, and Samsung Blue's roster here is pretty darn interesting. Riven does have some good roam potential, but it'll be really curious as to how they engage these team fights. Yeah, and that's what I'm going to be looking for on Blue.
It's going to be exciting, guys. Here we go. Game number 1, Samsung Blue versus CJ Blaze. A best of 3 to decide who goes to the WCG Global Finals. The game is loading. I think it's time. Let's get in the game. You know, sometimes I sneak up behind Monte Cristo and I whisper, "Go beyond the game."
And then I do.
He loves it. He loves it. And he does go beyond the game every single time. It works. All right, here we go, guys. Samsung Blue versus CJ Blaze. And already some pretty interesting movement on the map.
Yeah. Now, we know Samsung Blue as a team that has traditionally has had a very high kill potential at level 1. They tend to be very aggressive. They tend to be very surprising at level 1. And we may see some of it here today, but CJ Blaze coming in with the anti-stun will be a little bit difficult to get that level 1 fight off. Now, Spirit is starting with that Doran's Blade first on Elise. That has been his preference on this champion, and it depends on the player, but a lot of players in Korea do prefer this start because it just gives you that extra little bit of dueling potential early on in the game.
And there are those really deep wards from CJ Blaze as well. We saw that in their match against Shield yesterday. And, oh man. Yeah, avoiding the push with the entire Samsung Blue team in it.
Yeah, and we also, CJ Blaze has used has used a ton of really deep wards in their WCG matches right now. You can really tell that they've changed their level 1 strategy quite a bit because they never used to do this, and now they have constantly dropped the ward between the second and third turrets, and also that ward in between bot and mid lane, or between mid and top lane on the other side of the map if they're playing on that blue side.
Right.
So it is a bit curious. I'm not sure if it's really worth it.
It seems like it's easier for teams to kind of avoid those wards. So yeah, it is a bit interesting.
Yeah, Chunju getting a pretty delayed start into the lane here. He's hanging around this mid for quite a long time. Going to go ahead and take those wolves, and we see mirrored actions from Flame on the other side. So we're in a really interesting point in the 2v1 meta right now. And with more and more junglers doing what Royal did at the World Championship in terms of having an early follow and sharing experience with their top lane, and then also having these top laners go very actively into taking jungle camps early on. And look at this, Sense is going to rotate up there to help out in this top lane, leaving Corki into 1v1. Corki should be okay here. Of course, he's got great escapability and early burst, but this is an interesting adaptation and a new strategy that we're seeing from Samsung Blue right here.
Yeah, it does free up Spirit to be a lot more mobile, too, and actually gank fairly early on. A lot of times you see the jungler wrapped up at
okay, he was just here to ward, so he wards the Tri-Brush. They're concerned about the potential of an early Aatrox dive, and now Spirit going to head over to that lane and help clear out the wave. So now that's a pretty big blow to experience for the support player right there. We'll have to see how well that turns out because it's a lot of lost time in lane. So he's going to have to be playing catch-up from now on. And
it's a little bit dangerous to be that far behind in levels against an Annie support on the other side. She's going to have that level 6 a lot earlier, theoretically.
Yeah, this is an interesting gamble from Samsung Blue.
See how it works out.
So yeah, as I was saying earlier, when we see these more jungle camps taken early, the jungle follows from the top laners, that is. And Ambition taking a chunk of damage right there.
Yeah, has to use his flash, but Ignite used by Pawn, and he's actually just going to push Ambition right out of lane for now.
Well, you'd think that the Riven matchup, when you actually stop and think about it, with the shield and the mobility to dodge those barrels, and Ambition going to have a hard time CSing theoretically in melee, it seems like on paper a pretty good matchup. You're probably not going to get that kill potential because he does have the body slam to get away. But all right, Daydream coming up though.
Yeah, and he's not going to walk around through the Tri-Brush. Spirit, they're just waiting for him. We'll see if Lustboy can get in range for a possible stun here. Eating a spider, which I've been told is high in protein, but still something I don't really want to try that much.
I have to say, I'm not too interested myself.
Yeah.
So what I was saying, I'm trying to get back to this point, but when you have these early follows, it's preying on the fact that duo lanes are piling minion waves instead of just going straight in. And so I'm wondering if eventually, the more people do this, we're going to see an actual meta shift where nobody
there's a
piles.
Stun on Chunju. Mystic shot right in there as well. A lot of damage put down on Chunju, but not enough, I think.
Yeah, he's got the Doran's shield too. His sustain is just fine, and that's the first damage they've actually done to this turret.
Yep. It's been kind of slow going so far for CJ Blaze in the top lane.
Well, Spirit's done a good job of sitting there and making sure that his tower will stay up and functional.
And he's actually up a level on Daydream too, because he's been soaking up some of that XP.
Yes.
Daydream thinking about coming down into mid.
Yeah, it looks like Sense only lost a level by throwing down that ward, and
Yeah.
so he should be doing okay. He will be able to catch up before anything terrible happens, more than likely.
Yep. And Daydream just going to let his presence be known as he heads down to the bot lane now. Or possibly back into the jungle for a little bit more farming. Meanwhile, Deft and Sense down in the bot lane, just doing all the farming they can. CS between the two AD carries, basically even up right now. But here comes Daydream.
Yeah, he's just there to provide some presence because right now you can see that the wave has been freezing, and Ambition on a pretty early roam right here.
Yeah, this is something we haven't seen a lot from Ambition in the past, but he's
6.
been doing
This
it
is
more
very
lately.
dangerous.
That's right. Here we go. They're coming in behind him. He's going to explosive cast. Oh, barely gets out with the Valkyrie. Sense very low, but it looks like the gank will fail. A lot of damage on the Flame. He has to back off. Leap striking away.
That was some great reactions by Deft and Sense right there, both in terms of the Valkyrie and the Flash in order to avoid that. Now, on the other side of the map, we do see that Pawn's Riven is moving through the jungle, just creating some pressure right there. Lustboy actually flashing.
Huh. Maybe thinking that Spirit was a little bit closer than he...
Oh, that's really not good either, because now he's not going to have that same all-in potential when he hits 6.
Yeah. Still a couple levels away, but he is going to hit
that
it
looked
before
like
Flash
that
comes
looked
up.
like a mistake.
Might have been, yeah.
I don't think he was going to preemptively flash right there against a Riven. There's no need. You can't gap close that quickly.
Yeah. Bit surprising. Meanwhile, Rumble in the jungle. Ambition tried to run right. Pawn comes in, and there's first blood. Ambition up to his old tricks, giving first blood to the enemy team. And meanwhile,
oh, nice.
Oh, wow,
Proccing the passive on Daydream, not even having to use a summoner spell right there. Keeping his flash just with a nice flash Valk, or a nice Valk right there, rather. And now, I mean, this is a pretty solid advantage that Samsung Blue has managed to acquire, and they're going to get an opportunity here for a very early dragon.
Yeah, they should be able to get this no problem. No real resistance anywhere nearby from CJ Blaze, and this is going to add to their already pretty decent gold lead for 8 minutes.
Yeah, well, they've managed to acquire a little bit of extra CS pretty much across the board right here, which is contributing to that as well.
Yeah.
But nice work from Samsung Blue.
Yeah, these guys are looking good.
Their rotations and their decision-making has been so solid in this tournament. It's very impressive that they've managed to fix in-game shot calling so very much.
Yeah.
I wonder if by bringing Pawn into the team that he was kind of the missing piece that they really needed to make a lot of these decisions. Spirit as well, because we only saw 1 or 2 games with him at the very end of Champion Summer. Because previous to that, Sense was in the jungle and they had Flom on support.
Right, quite possible. And they're going to give that blue buff over to Ambition, it looks like. Coming in for the kill on the Golem. And that's going to help him out a little bit.
Yeah, Ambition's roaming quite heavily this game, which is probably the most effective way to play Gragas right now, just because his burst is so insane, especially at 6, but a lot of Gragas is also roaming before that. The other reason why it's great to roam with Gragas is if you have that flash up and you can use the body slam and then flash into somebody to guarantee that your slow hits. Pretty nice way to make sure that your team is going to get a kill.
Yep. Very true. Well, the first turret goes down in favor of CJ Blaze. They got the early damage on it a little bit late, but ended up getting the turret.
And Pawn has mobility boots. He went back very early to pick these up. So we'll have to see what he does with his map presence right now. The turret still at over 50% HP here for CJ Blaze. So they're going to be there probably in time to save it, but it's dropping quite rapidly at the moment. They are going to have to back off. They know that that rotation is incoming, but Ambition in trouble in the mid lane.
Has to use his ultimate just to stay alive. And that's going to take away a lot of the roaming potential that he would have probably liked to have as he defends this mid lane turret now.
All right, well, Spirit and Pawn making moves here towards that bot lane turret, but CJ Blaze all over it. They're not going to give that one up.
Yeah. Spirit lurking in the bushes. And that turret is really low. They do have Daydream there as well.
Yeah, Lust Boy's 6, though. They have to be super careful about
Yeah,
this.
they do. Oh, the Cocoon on Ember. They lock him up twice. He has to flash away. There's Barry as well. And they're going to come down for the execute. Nice knockup. There's a stun as well onto Spirit. Deft in the back line. Sniver doing damage. Lust Boy's very low. They actually do get a kill onto both Emperor and Lust Boy. Deft makes it out by popping that barrier. Meanwhile, Ambition in trouble in the jungle trying to go after Deft. Is it going to work? Flash. Oh, the barrel doesn't connect.
Yeah, the barrel
It
Ambition actually died before he could activate that barrel. Otherwise, it would have been a kill. And there we go. 3 kills for Samsung Blue. And that was some great chain CC to start that fight. I don't know what happened to this Samsung Blue team or how they managed to get this good this fast, but it is impressive.
I feel like the Samsung teams are, you know, they're the old MVP teams, obviously. They've become just like the mortal enemies of CJ Blaze.
Great landing. Look at that chain CC as well. Getting on to Emperor, using the Shen ultimate to get into the lines right there. And Deft doing a great job of hunting down Lust Boy. And he flashes over. He flashed the True Shot barrage, I believe.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it would have killed him. So not only flashing forward to secure the kill, but flashing the True Shot barrage in and of itself. And he just dies to the Riven execute.
You know, it's a good move by Ambition, but oh, meanwhile, Flame in a little bit of trouble here. He has to back off. Now they can catch him. Spirit flashing ahead. Gets the execute with the Q. Oh, man, this MVP Blue team just dominating CJ Blaze early on.
And you know, I really like what we're seeing out of Spirit's Elise build right here. This is pretty new. Not the Doran's Blade start is old, but the fact that he goes for the very quick Sork shoes and Kindle Gem is very interesting, but allows him to do so much damage right here. Let's take a look at what happened. Flame goes on to Chunju right there. Nice taunt. Spirit just comes in, and wow, they just done some more great chain CC.
Yeah. And Spirit just going to flash ahead for that finishing move.
Gets killed by a Spiderling.
Yep. That's what they do. Man, so impressive. And showing us things that I've never seen before. I didn't know that Gragas' barrels disappear mid-flight when he dies. I've actually never seen that before.
It was so close to actually having him lock it down as well. And there's the second turret in favor of Samsung Blue, and Flame in trouble.
A little bit of trouble. There's a knockup, but he does leap strike away to Daydream. They're going to take the Golem, though. Wow.
This is a really fun Elise build. I hope we get to see more of this, just because it allows you to put so much damage down in the mid game.
And you're a little bit more durable, too. I mean, you've got health, cooldown reduction, magic penetration. It seems like a very ideal early Elise build.
Yeah, look at this, too. He's now going home guard afterwards, so not a lot of combat stats, but a ton of damage and a ton of presence.
Yeah.
Very interesting. The mobility boots ribbon really paying off as well for Pawn. He's able to be pretty much everywhere.
Yeah. Giving Daydream lessons in how to be aggressive, apparently.
Yeah, I wonder if this pickaxe is going to turn into a Tiamat, because in that case, with his mobility boots, he's going to be able to push lanes so fast, and he'll be able to rotate very quickly to keep the pressure on CJ Blaze, and that's going to help them out a lot when it comes to finishing and closing out this game.
It's quite possible. Meanwhile, Spirit does have that Oracles already, going out and clearing some vision that CJ's tried to put down in their jungle. And they're timing this with another Dragon. And is there anything CJ can do? They're coming down. And he has Flash, he has Tibbers, but I think it's going to be a little bit too late. We'll see. True Shot Barrage nearly picks it off, but not quite. Nice try by Emperor. He was just pixels away from getting that steal.
Yeah, Chunju right there pulling back. He wanted to make sure he could port in without the Jack stun, but CJ Blaze not really wanting to commit to that fight yet. They know they're down, and CJ Blaze's hopes reside in the fact that they need Flame to get really, really farmed right now and become that absolutely terrifying Jax in the late game.
And have to default back to old habits now at this point.
Yes, it's
feed the Flame.
Feed the Flame, let him farm all of the empty lanes all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this is a wild strategy that we're seeing from Samsung Blue right here, just in terms of the item builds mostly, and then, of course, that mid-Riven pick doing work against Ambition's Gragas.
Yeah. Pretty successful game so far for Deft as well. Already has that Trinity Force, along with the Sork shoes that all the Corkis have been buying lately. And CJ, I mean, if any team is going to be able to stall it out and win with good moves in the late game, it's going to be CJ Blaze, but I'm sure they'd prefer to just not have to be in that situation to begin with.
Yeah, the issue with Samsung Blue and their weakness right now, of course, with the early home guard, with the early boots of mobility coming in on their jungle and mid, is that, again, they lack those combat stats. They've invested a lot of gold in map presence. So if CJ Blaze can get some good wards up in their own jungle and continue to farm safely here, they may be able to pull this one out.
Yeah.
Either that or they try and force 5v5 fights where these items just aren't really going to be very cost efficient. And that's actually a Black Cleaver coming in all in one go for Pawn. He had the Brutalizer, but yeah, they just have to be very careful right now, and they have to either force a 5v5 or just make sure that they know when these rotations are coming.
We'll see if they can. I could just watch Pawn all day. I mean, I think we will
He is
tonight,
such a fun player to watch.
Yeah.
I can't believe that this is the same player we saw last season on MIG Blitz. Now, we knew he was good then. He did play quite well, especially on Fizz, but he's really taken his game to the next level.
Yeah. He was definitely one of those players that kind of showed flashes of brilliance, but now he's developed that quite a bit in the offseason.
I'm not sure about this Black Cleaver build, though, and I'm not sure how much I like it. It does give him some good dueling potential and that little bit of extra tankiness as well, but I think if you're going to buy the boots of mobility, you might as well just go for the Hydra faster, just because no one will be able to clear lanes as fast as you can.
Yeah. And I mean, the armor pen is nice, but isn't quite as valuable on the team comp as a whole, so...
Yeah, Flame doing a good job of reading right now, though. As soon as you'll notice, they're playing very passively. As soon as anybody gets out of lane, they know there's no time to farm. There's no time to stay there because of how fast this Riven can suddenly show up. Emperor getting jumped on a little bit.
Emperor's like, no, wait, that's my move. I'm the guy who Valkyries into fights, kills people, but
not
Deft
today.
hitting to jump on him that time, yeah. Not today. What do we say to Deft? Not today.
Oh, that's good. We'll be using that one for a while.
That's right. Well, winter is coming, you know.
The winter is coming.
Champions winter is coming next month. Get excited. And I'm not talking about the Jinx Mask. Although, that's exciting too. Well, a bit of a lull in the action as Blue intelligently kind of pulls back and plays this stage of the game a little bit more methodically. And again, I mean, this has just been a week of extremely crisp gameplay by unexpected teams, you know?
Yeah, certainly after Blaze's slump, we didn't expect them to look this powerful coming in, but we've got a fight brewing right here.
And we'll see. Or maybe that was just Gragas brewing something. He's always brewing something. This top lane turret getting a little bit low. And doesn't look like they'll be able to save it. There's the explosive cast coming in, but doesn't really help as much. The turret will go down anyway. Quan thinking about coming in, gets slowed a little bit by Daedream. Here comes the Shen ult.
That was a pretty terrible Stand United, though.
Yeah, that didn't really help too much. No.
That's what I was talking about in Champion Select, is there are limited engage options from Samsung Blue, because you need to have somebody for Shen to ult in on. And yes, there's Elise, but you have to remember, look how glass cannon this Elise is right now. Picking up the Spirit Stone is the next item. She doesn't have a whole lot of tankiness yet. And so in this situation, if Elise goes in first with the Repel, you run a real danger of Gragas and Ezreal simply killing her before the Stand United channel can go through.
Yeah.
So that leaves you with Riven, and it's not like Riven has the best gap closers or initiations in League of Legends. And so it results in these kind of awkward situations like we saw right there. Now, they did get the turret for it, so it's not the end of the world, but certainly that will slow down their split push and pressure on the map in the future.
It's just weird to see Shen in a game and not have him be played by Flame. I think that's the strangest thing, really, is that I see like Stand United coming in like, wait a minute, isn't Shen on the other team? It's like, oh wow, it's actually a game where Shen isn't played by Flame.
Yeah, they didn't prioritize it very much this time around.
No.
And we have the Dragon coming up in 15 seconds, so Spirit going to take the blue buff for himself right there. And will they ward up? They are a little late in terms of getting some good wards down around the Dragon.
Yeah.
Emperor going to clear out that top lane wave.
Yep. That should start pushing back in the other direction, and that gives him the chance to rotate down to the Dragon Pit. See if they can maybe get a fight, maybe get some sort of pick going. Depth, though, they know where they are right away. So much vision over the entire Dragon area for Samsung Blue right now. It's going to be really tough for CJ Blaze to get any sort of drop on them.
Yeah, that said, they do have the power to just burst some of these squishy targets down pretty much instantly. Shen doing a good job of zoning out Flame from the side.
Lust Boy in trouble. He gets jumped on. There's a slow as well. Oh, wow. Actually, they take out Pawn. Good turnaround. And now CJ Blaze backing off a little bit. That shutdown on Pawn was quite nice. There's the repel from Elise. Where's it coming down? Right in the middle. There's Lust Boy coming in, trying to get that stun. Nice knockup by Daydream. Deft in the back lines. They'll turn. Chunju gets the kill onto Lust Boy. This fight could be going better for CJ. Daydream very low right now. Has to back out.
Yeah, a sloppy engage there from Samsung Blue, and that's where they would have really liked to have had that Stand United up and available. And Deft managing to clean up just a little bit, and I don't know. I don't know if Lust Boy should have used the Tibbers right there, but that's the burst I'm talking about when you have such squishy champions. I mean, Last Whisper was the next item completed by Riven.
Not a lot of health in those items.
No. And you run that risk right here. If Chunju's not in there to tank up some damage for you, you're pretty much guaranteed to lose some champs early on.
Yeah. You know, that said, I do feel like I'm sensing a little bit of desperation now on CJ Blaze's side to get a play, to make something happen. Let's watch that team fight again.
Yeah, this was just a miscommunication pretty much. Pawn goes in and just gets obliterated by the burst, but there are no more ultimates from CJ Blaze, which is the nice part. But we'll switch back to Samsung Blue here, sieging the mid lane turret. Stand United back up one more time.
Emperor very low on health after taking a lot of rockets to the face from Deft.
Yeah, looks like we will be seeing Pawn.
Whoa, a lot of damage there. Oh, the explosive cast barely doesn't finish him off.
Yeah, barrier used right there for Deft. Good patience, though, not to use that flash. Good presence of mind coming out there to save that one for a little bit further. Pawn's going in.
With the Stand United, there's the Q-stun anyway. Ambition trying to get away with the body slam. Can't do it. Taunt helps secure that kill for Chunju. They're going to go after the mid lane turret now. Lust Boy, not a lot he can do on support Annie from there. They will claim that turret. Samsung Blue up 4-2 now.
Yeah, and okay, well, we see Deft coming back into lane. Missed out on a little bit right there, but it's okay. I mean, they've got a substantial lead at this point.
Oh, yeah.
But again, not to say that CJ Blaze can't come back here, because they certainly can. You only need, the great thing about support Annie is you only need to land one good ultimate to really turn a game on its head, especially when we're talking about a high burst damage champion like Gragas and a late game terror like Jax.
Yeah, that is very true. See if they can. Meantime, Samsung Blue just taking time to push up their lanes, making sure all their minions are in a row.
Yeah, but even Jax right now, Flame is so far behind it. It's not often that we see Flame down on CS.
Right. Although we have seen it more than once this week, though.
And the reason why is because that's a signal that CJ Blaze is breaking out of these old bad habits where they used to just try and farm Flame up into Oblivion, make sure he had 100 more CS than his laning opponent, and therefore get an item advantage for the late game. This just shows that Flame has been much more active on the map and active in terms of grouping earlier than he has been in the past.
That is definitely a good thing for them as well. I mean, at the end of Champion Summer, there was just so much that Blaze needed to change, and they have made a lot of those changes, so even if they do lose today, they will have shown some improvement for sure. Pawn really chasing Flame through the jungle there. In the meantime, there's the explosive gas. Really nice. Deft fails to slash over the wall. Can he get away? There's a slow. Doesn't look like it. Nice catch for CJ Blaze. And now Samsung Blue needs to be really careful that they don't just filter in one at a time after that. That was a close call, but a nice move for Blaze.
Really sloppy by Samsung Blue there, but Blaze taking advantage of it right there, and actually Jax leading them in and helping and actually picking up an assist there in that little fight in the jungle.
Yeah, well, that was a great explosive cask, and then Deft just a little bit too far away to use that flash to get over the wall. Couldn't make it out. Now they have to follow this up with some pretty safe, intelligent pushing. We do have Flame pushing down that mid lane. It's going to probably back off soon. Yeah, recalling now.
Yeah, this is where the veteran status of Blaze really comes in. Because if you
yeah.
look at this right here, look how fast Blaze reacts to this. And everybody on Samsung Blue out of position. They know
Great ult.
Flame is in trouble. Yes, very nice ult, and then they chain it right into Sense. Deft gets hit by the body slam, and then Flame comes over to add that little bit of extra damage to take him out.
Yep. And also layer those CCs as well. The slow, the stun from Counter-Strike after that. Deft wasn't going anywhere. Interesting game.
Yeah, and Blaze, they know how to get out of this situation. They know what they need to do. They were very cautious in the mid-game in terms of watching for that Boots of Mobility Riven rotating around the map. They didn't take that many risks.
Yeah.
Now, if they're going to claw this way back into the game, they're going to take probably about another 15 minutes or so to do it.
Yeah, I would say
but
so.
But it's definitely still on the table here.
Yeah, the damage is starting to get up there a little bit. Nice dodge with from the roots with Lost Boy.
Yeah, and now we see CJ Blaze taking a lot more map control. Not a lot of wards up right now.
Yeah.
For Samsung Blue, they're looking to fix that, sending out Spirit with an Oracles of his own. And the Dragon fight coming up here real quick. But CJ may have a bit of an edge here just because of all of that AoE that they possess. Pawn looking to get a pick right here.
Yeah, he's going to try to go in on Flame here. There's a stun. Flame a little bit low. Counter-Strike has been activated. Pawn tries to flip around it. There's a leap strike over to the ward. Looks like Flame will get away. But Shen coming in with the Stand United. There's a great taunt in the middle of everything. Flame really low in the back lines. Meanwhile, Ambition gets taken down by Chunju. A double kill for him, actually. Pawn picking up one as well. That was a flame-worthy taunt right there.
That was an insanely good taunt by Chunju, and not only that, but great target calling.
Oh, speaking of great taunts, Emperor gets saved a bit by Daydream, still a little bit low. Okay, love to disengage from that, but Chunju going kind of crazy right now.
Well, I mean, right there, that taunt was absolutely perfect, and the fact that the target calling was so good, they took out Lustboy before he had a chance to use his ultimate, which is CJ Blaze needs Tibbers to hit a couple people in order to win these team fights at this point. And when they take out Annie so quickly, of course, there's just not that option. And now they're just going to go for Baron.
Wow, they're going to give it a try here. Can they do it? Daydream is there. He knows something's up. Baron getting low. Daydream getting caught. He may not make it out. There's the Ignite. Pops the passive. The Golems are going on a fantastic voyage. Now they're returning home. But Baron taken by Samsung Blue.
So some moments of sloppiness here in the game from Samsung Blue, but also some moments of brilliance, and they've managed to at least maintain their lead here off of that great laning phase that they had.
Yeah, and we were talking about Lustboy needing to get that stun off with the Annie Tibbers, and I mean that's definitely one of the Achilles heels of playing Annie support is that she is just going to be incredibly squishy and incredibly immobile all game long, so very prone to being picked.
And look at this here. We have the Distortion enchantment finishing onto Pawn, and the reason why that is because for initiations, we've talked about the initiation issues with this composition, but for initiations, they are very reliant on Riven flashing in while Stand United is on top of her. And they need Stand United on top of Riven because she's so squishy that in order to do damage, she has to be able to live just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So a very intelligent, I think, item purchase right there for Pawn, and very composition specific to this game.
And this tier 2 mid turret under some threat now by the Baron-powered Samsung Blue. They're going to be able to get that no problem. Flame still in the top lane, trying to block Chunju from pushing that any farther.
Yeah, unfortunately, Chunju is too much of a monster right now, and Flame can do absolutely nothing to Shen until he actually completes his Blade of the Ruined King. So he's pretty much doomed to just get split pushed right into his turret right here, and his job has to be stopping that Stand United. That's pretty much his only function at this point in time.
Well, here we go. They're coming into this turret now. Pawn and Chunju there. Everybody else rotating up. Emperor trying to poke at that Mystic shot as best he can. Takes a chunk out of Spirit. They do get the tower. Now they're coming in. Flame very low. Nice knockup from Daydream. Explosive cast. Pushes Deft way to the back. Emperor trying to kite as best as he can. Daydream has some flash to the wall. Ambition still high health. Emperor on the run though. Pawn coming in with the Stand United on top of him. Gets the kill as Shen enters the fray. Can he get the taunt onto Ambition? Doesn't want to do it under the turret. They're going to be content with the 0 for 4 and the inhibitor, it looks like. Oh, Ambition trying to get in onto Def, but the Valkyrie is going to save him. And this game is all but over.
Probably going to be the end of this game. As
I think so.
Samsung Blue turns a fantastic laning phase
Amazing.
into a nice snowball and a pretty
Amazing.
clean 30-minute win over CJ Blaze.
Yeah, wow, there it is. GG and Samsung Blue. They took out the Season 3 World Champions. Can they take out CJ Blaze as well?